What really pushed us over the edge to get that going was, it was unfortunately, it was a funeral service for a friend of ours. It popped up in one of our WhatsApp groups, right? And our friends were like, hey, guys, there's this funeral service, but we can't figure it out. And mind you, these guys work in like IT. They're very tech savvy. And I kind of side messaged him on right away. And I was like, this is a problem. It was that day that we said, you know what, like, we need to figure something out.
If we were having this much trouble as the people setting it up, imagine what that family was going through when the night before they're calling us, right? Like sometimes me and Jatinder, to be honest, we're like, oh, we got 7 calls from this family at 10:30. Sounds like we're complaining, but imagine what that family is going through. Right. They have a funeral the next day and they're going through way more than us just to try to get their friends to watch the service, right? So we were 100% on board when you guys came with FuneralLive.ca. And
it was never the idea to make our own, to be honest with you. It was always like, let's see what's out there. But like when we started evaluating Pinino, I remember me and you jumped on so many calls to kind of see what's out there, what makes sense. It wasn't great.
No.
Nothing was great. Nothing did it well. So we ended up just kind of building our own. Last year with the pandemic and all that stuff and all the craziness happening in the world, that was the one thing I was super proud of. Like we were actually able to take a problem, present a solution, implement a solution, and like people loved it. It like so well received. Everything was on there. Your live stream, condolence board. You can send flowers to the family if you wanted to. All of that stuff in one place.
You can get the recording after.
Yeah, personalized to the family.
You can get a book of memories, basically, like all the condolences that were put on can be emailed to the family. A list of attendees alongside their email addresses if you want to send out like a thank you message to those who attended.
It was actually launched properly in July. And then it's we now have 6 months of data, like actual hard data of how it's doing. And we're trending 60,000-70,000 views a month, maybe more now.
Yeah, more.
We did 250,000 views in 6 months.
Now when a family calls me at the funeral home and they're like, oh, do you guys have Zoom or FaceTime or this? I'm like, no, I'm really proud to say that we have a dedicated private funeral service platform.
The value that you gave to families, we've talked about this many times in the past, but these people who were only allowed the 10 people at their funeral, imagine this service wasn't this good. Imagine if it was, here, come Skype or come put a phone up.
Me and him didn't ever sit here and go, hey, one day we're going to do live streams for funerals. It was never in the pipeline, and we would have never had thought about, setting up a live stream service for funeral homes, right? Yeah. But when you guys came to us and, we went through it, there's all these options and none of them actually, cater to the funeral home, right? Yeah. At that point, it's like, we're not going to just be like, hey, you guys should use this one, right? And I think that's where it started. We're like, we're going to do this and we're going to do it well. And we're going to make sure it's, it's everything that
custom.
It's custom. And it's what these families need.
Now to a point where based on presets that you've automated into that iPad, we can zoom into the casket. We can zoom into the podium when people are giving speeches. I had someone give me feedback that, it felt like they were at the funeral.
I think this was a little bit overdue, right? COVID aside, there's how many times have you guys heard that hey, people from overseas or whatever can't make it to the funeral? This service I think was needed even back then. It just took us a global epidemic or pandemic for us.
How many times have we seen somebody at a funeral FaceTiming off their phone for the family back home, right?
I had someone told me that they went to another funeral home and they had a laptop set up in front of the camera and they couldn't. The person that was sitting in the funeral home couldn't see their loved one because it was blocked off by a laptop.